Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. We are going to talk about what expert means and how to think about the idea of being an expert to help you step into expert energy sooner to move your business forward without waiting. The inspiration for today's topic comes from a student inside my 12-month foundation program. He shared his realization of being called an expert with 20 hours of training while working in the optical industry. So let's talk about the optical training experience. While this isn't my personal experience, I loved this idea so much, I wanted to create an entire episode about this experience of working in the optical industry and getting 20 hours of training as a new hire before becoming an expert at selling eyewear. That's right, 20 hours of training, some of that just in HR to be the expert at selling eyewear to the public. That seems like a lot of responsibility to sell, make recommendations, and offer your opinion to real patients after only 20 hours of training. But that is how this industry does it. And it got me thinking about how closely that framework is also represented inside our MFR community. Let's think about it. MFR therapists get on average 20 hours of training at each seminar they attend. And after MFR 1, John says things like, now you have more information and knowledge to help your patients better than any other traditional bodywork method out there. Go and help your patients. Use what you've learned. Start doing this work right away. Only, what do we actually do? Some of us go and start doing it right away. Some of us sign up for another seminar and another and another and another and are waiting to put our skills into action. And some people never start doing MFR at all. Why do we do this? Why is it one way or the other or the other? This is a question I've always had, both as a therapist and as a coach for MFR therapists who still goes to seminars regularly. Let's talk about overcoming confidence issues in MFR. It is very common to hear MFR therapists talk about the struggle to speak with confidence about MFR and what happens when you're treated with it. It is so common to hear MFR therapists struggle with this that I think it has become accepted that it's just blatantly hard and therefore not a thing that can change. But I want to offer that you can learn how to speak confidently about myofascial release, and it isn't hard, especially when you start to do it on purpose and you quit waiting for something to happen in order for it to become easy. Especially when you compare selling MFR to my client's experience in optical retail. With 20 hours, he was told he was an expert, and this is what he will do inside this business. And he went out and he was the expert. What often happens with MFR therapists is they decide they aren't an expert or aren't expert enough. So instead of being an expert in the treatment room about MFR, they decide it's hard to talk about and they don't talk about it. Only it isn't hard to talk about and isn't hard to be the expert in the room when you decide to be one and you decide to learn how to talk about it on purpose. I have many examples of clients in my coaching program who are now so confident in their ability to be the expert in the treatment room. The only thing that has changed for them is that they made the decision that the training they had was enough to start becoming the expert in the room, no matter what their level of training was, right? Between them and the client, they are the expert in the room. You've probably heard me say that before, but that alone has triggered the idea for them that that alone is enough for them to be the expert. And stepping into that expert energy helps so much. It's deciding you know enough that gives you that confidence boost to speak about MFR in a way that is clear. When you decide you know enough, You'll talk about what you do know, not what you don't know. And you'll quickly see ways to explain what you do know and how it helps in terms that your client can understand. It really can be that simple. So back to my client that was doing this optical retail work. I'm sure his first few times on the sales floor, even though he was told he was an expert, were not as good as his last few times on the sales floor, right? Just like the first times you'll talk about MFR on purpose, you're likely going to be terrible. That's okay. It's allowing yourself to start, allowing yourself this runway to develop the language and the skill. That's the magic. I was just thinking about, where in my life, what experiences do I have that are similar to this optical experience? And mine comes from being a waitress at Pizza Hut back in the day. And my first day seating people and taking orders, it was so overwhelming. I not only needed to know the row and the table number for each table, just to be able to enter the orders into the computer, I also needed to know the computer system. I needed to know and understand the menu. I needed to be able to ask questions when people made choices on the menu to ensure I had enough information that when I went back to order it and put it into the computer, I had it correctly. It was a lot to know. But I was the pizza expert that day, even on my first day. Even while I was unsure, I had to be willing to learn how to do those things. And I'm pretty sure I had way less than 20 hours of training. I was much better at taking orders and entering orders by the time I was ready to quit, right? I had so much training and experience by then. And by then I was ready to move on and go to college. So I was willing to be bad at it, right? There was no expectation for me to be super good at it in the beginning because I didn't put that expectation on myself. And I'm sure the Pizza Hut employer didn't either, right? I was a 15-year-old person just learning, doing my best. But do you hear the confidence that I have about pizza order taking now? Like if you had a question about Pizza Hut, I still believe I'm a Pizza Hut expert and I could help you order something today. It's that confidence 20 years later from the expertise that I learned on the job then that's still with me. And I just want you to know that you can apply all these skills from your first-time jobs into your MFR business and remember back to when you didn't know anything to when you were like such an expert at that about the time you were ready to quit the job, right? And I want you to realize that in your MFR business, it's much better for you to allow yourself to train yourself and allow yourself to put on this expert energy to decide like, oh man, like I have 20 hours of training in this. I am the expert in the room now, instead of waiting until you're ready to quit or waiting until like your business isn't working. Hey listener, did you know that I have a free patients guide available for you to use with your patients? That's right. Go to my website, www.themfrcoach.com, and look for the MFR ebook. Click the button to download the Patient's Guide to Getting the Most Out of Your MFR Sessions. This resource will help you talk to your patients and help them better understand what's possible for them when they get MFR. This is one of the many resources I offer to my paid coaching clients. Download it for free today. Let's talk about embracing your expertise in MFR. The things that we all have in common as MFR therapists is this. Every single John Barnes trained MFR therapist has at least 20 hours of training. I find this to be pretty incredible. And I know most MFR therapists doing MFR only have at least 60 hours or more of training. Even more incredible. And if we look even deeper, most of those therapists likely are getting 60 hours or more training per year because that's just what we do and part of the standard of who we are. MFR therapists are freaking incredible and so dedicated to having outstanding skill sets. But I want to caution you here that some of us take that so seriously, we never allow ourselves to actually learn how to talk about MFR or to be the expert in the room because we're so focused on being expertly trained. And that's where I want you to really check in and see, like, have I given myself permission to be the expert in the room right now? I want to encourage you to recognize and embrace your expertise in MFR that you already have. Think about the potential impact of you confidently being able to communicate with your clients the benefits of myofascial release, the benefits that you are able to provide for your clients when they get MFR from you. This not only benefits you and your business, but it benefits everyone in the world when you decide that you are the expert and you start talking about it in this way. I am so grateful to be a part of this community and the amazingness that MFR therapists can provide for their clients. I want to encourage a mindset of continuous learning and exploration in our field, because the better you understand what is possible with MFR by continuing to learn from John Barnes, the better therapist you will become with your skill set. It's also so important to start empowering yourself now so that you can help more people instead of waiting for your confidence to come, waiting for that next seminar. So go out there and take the confidence. Harness the power that you have as an MFR therapist already. Harness the power of expertise that you already have from the training that you've already received. I invite you to join my email list and be ready to join my coaching program where we take ideas like expert energy and talking about MFR to clients and we apply them. We dissect the reasons why you aren't selling MFR or aren't talking about it, and we create plans of action to help you start doing it, all while having fun and being supported. The community we've created inside my coaching program is absolutely amazing. I want all MFR therapists to know that you belong here, even if you're brand new and even if you've had your business for years. There is a place for every single one of you to make your business even better and easier and to help people more deeply. Thanks for listening this week. I'll be back next week with another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com, for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making six figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.